إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise is due to Allah. We seek refuge with Allah from our sins and bad deeds. He who is guided by Allah indeed has been guided, and he who is misguided, only Allah Azza wa Jal can guide him. And I bear witness that there is no deity to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of Allah. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon Sayyidina Muhammad, upon his family, upon his companions, and upon those who follow his sunnah until the day of judgment. The best words are the words of Allah, and the best guidance is the guidance of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam rahmah lil alameen, a mercy for all mankind, mercy for the world, to show us the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to say that we decide to go on this path, we decide to take this path as ours, we have to pay the price. We cannot just give a lip service to what we say we believe in and do not actually implement it in all aspects of our lives. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came first to the Meccans, telling them to worship Allah and Allah alone, they found that to be strange. He made al-aliha ilahun wahid. He made all these deities just one God. All these deity one. Inna hadha la shay'un ujab. This is something very strange, they said. They were on the path of their forefathers. They were in the path of those that we reflect on their lives and follow them. But they were thinking that they were on their path, but they weren't. They were connected with them in relationship of the forefathers only, meaning they said that we are the descendants of Ismail alayhi salam. They said we were the descendants of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So they were proud to be in the lineage of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam. They were proud to revive and keep the Hajj tradition. Okay, so they would compete who's going to take care of those who come to Hajj, who will give them the siqaya, the water, who will do this, who will do that, and they thought it was something to be proud of, something in their inheritance, go back to Ibrahim alayhi salam, that they are holding it up high in a high standard. But they were not following Ibrahim alayhi salam. They were not following Ismail alayhi salam. But they changed. But they still connected to them somehow with the lineage only. And put customs and ways that were different. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam came and told them to go back to the way of Ismail alayhi salam, to go back to the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam, to worship Allah and Allah alone. And when that path became clear to them, that is the path, they said, no, this is something very strange, we will not do so. And some would stay away, and some would fight that message. And those who fought that message, they were the ones who were benefiting from the corruption of that message. They were benefiting from the injustices that came and established as a way of life. So they fought. And first they were saying to Rasulullah ﷺ, just stop saying that. He wouldn't. Those who came around Rasulullah ﷺ increased in number. And now the message became in the open. Now the message is just a message, meaning it was not an implementation yet in all aspects of life. But Quraysh, they knew the potential of this message. Just like it is known the potential of this message today. Today, the potential of this message is known, that's why it's being fought. But for those who hold it in a way of just the lineage of the forefathers before, of the prophets of Allah before, you'll have no problem. But if you hold on to it as a message in its purity and in its standard, as Rasulullah ﷺ gave us, then they would have a problem. So finally they decided that if they cannot stop the Muslimin from saying La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, then they have to concentrate them in one camp. So physically, they pushed them into one camp. It was a concentration, if you want, by definition, a concentration camp. Meaning, they pushed them to go to Shi'b Abi Talib, an area, and completely cut off from Mecca and from the society, and forced them to go in it. And no one would deal with them. But what is very important here is, when they were inside the society, they were not making something, like for example, the alcohol was not prohibited yet. All the acts of worship were not there yet. Okay, the riba was not something to be haram yet. So the Muslimin were not involved in the banking system, if you will, of Quraysh, to change it the way Islam should be. They were not involved into the alcohol and say it is prohibited now, no one should be drinking and so forth. In other words, their involvement in the system was very limited, very limited. But again, the potential of that, the potential of somebody comes and says, whatever Allah says, I'm going to implement. Despite whatever the society is doing, whatever the society is saying, everything is wrong except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said is right. Okay, meaning, whatever, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says do that, I'll do it. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says stay away from that, I'll stay away from it. And when one has that attitude, becomes a dangerous person. Because again, the potential of affecting the system is there. So they said, let's take them completely out. Now, what was the attitude of those who were together in a concentration camp? They were concentrated in an area that no food will go to them. No, you don't marry from among them. You do not have any business dealing with them. They're completely cut off from the society and the dealing in the society. They held on, and they were still. One companion was saying, I was walking at night and very hungry, and I stepped on something soft. I took it and felt it and I ate it. And they said, until today I don't know what I ate. That's how difficult it was. To bring something in, they had to, to do some kind of plans here and there to bring something in or out of there. But the companions, they were pleased and they were being patient. They were being sabr, as-sabr. They practiced patience. That is the key. And also they practice shukr, and that is the key. Okay? To be thankful and to be patient. As the scholars tell us that a mu'min, a Muslim, will go in different manazil, different levels and with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But to find a shukr wa sabr, to be thankful and to be patient in all these manazil, in all these stages. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he told us sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that the believer, al-mu'min, كل أمره خير, that all his matter is good. All his matter is good. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have chosen to choose these two qualities. That to bring this all his matter. See, all his matter. In what? In the shukr wa sabr. When Allah gives him, then shakr. He would be thankful. Then, فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. Then it becomes good for him. And when he goes through difficulty, sabr. He becomes patient. فَكَانَ خَيْرًا لَهُ. Then it is good for him. So Rasulullah ﷺ brought those two qualities to describe the condition of the Muslim, the believer. Okay? So here are the companions of Rasulullah ﷺ and Rasulullah ﷺ were in Sha'b Abi Talib, and they were practicing the shukr was sabr. They were thankful that they were in this camp and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was still bringing upon them, upon Rasulullah ﷺ, the Quran. So they would sit with Rasulullah ﷺ and listen to the ayat that is being revealed. Listen to the guidance for mankind. And they were thankful to be chosen to get this revelation from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after he heard it from Jibreel alayhi salam, after Allah revealed it upon Jibreel alayhi salam to give it to Rasulullah. That was an experience that nothing in this world is equal to it. Nothing even near to it. And they knew that they were the most civilized people on earth because they are guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The absolute truth is coming to them. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is giving it to them as pure as it comes. This is it. And we have it today the same way. We had it from Jibreel alayhi salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us today. As pure as it came the first time it came down. But we don't deal with it in this sense. We do not read the Quran and feel that this is, something that is Allah's talking to us. Now, the companions were getting the message and they had no food. They had no shelter. They had no rights in the society. but they were pleased and they were thankful. And they were patient. They knew that this will have an end. They knew that Rasulullah ﷺ told them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises you that in this life, in this world, meaning before the day of judgment, this deen will prevail. This way will prevail. And it will prevail locally there until a woman will come from up north all the way south and she will not fear anything. Meaning she'll be alone and Islam will give peace to the area and no one will oppose it. And Rasulullah ﷺ told us that also in this way of being prevailed upon all other system, it will come before the day of judgment in this life. So they were thankful also that they were patient. Right? Ash-shukru ala sabr. When you practice patience, and you are capable, you find yourself able to become patient and to stay patient, you should be thankful for that. Okay? So you be thankful, tashkuru ala sabr. You become thankful upon being patient. Also, tasburu ala shukr. Also become patient on being thankful. Right? Meaning that you're being thankful, but you're going to be pushed so much by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and now you're going to give up being thankful. No, you have to be patient in being thankful. Okay? So another word, don't stop. Think. Think about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us that when one is sleeping, he is full, he's peaceful, he's in peace, he's in safety, then the whole dunya is for him. Right? Meaning, as if he got this whole earth is under his service. Because what else do you want? You are sleeping, you have the safety of mind and the peacefulness of mind that you can go to sleep. And you are safe and you are full. Alhamdulillah, now you got everything. So, are we thankful? See, the companions, they had nothing. The essential, they did not have. The essentials, they did not have. But they were very thankful. And they were very patient. Now we are we having so much where we are, and we're being pushed a little bit here and there in the media and so forth, and we are contemplating about what could happen in the future, and now we are afraid of what happens in the future, so we're holding back to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you'll say, no, I'm thankful. I'm thankful every night and every day. I thank Allah for what I have. I thank Allah for this and that. But remember, being thankful is to use what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that what Allah has given you, the best of Allah has given you is what? Is the Iman, the Islam, the Ihsan, who we are, the Quran, the Sunnah. And the guidance to this deen. This is the best. Now, to hide that, not to show that you're a Muslim, not to propagate this path that is for all mankind, that you're not being thankful. Closing the door on ourselves and saying we are being thankful, that is not enough. It is part of being thankful to be privately thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your heart and in your tongue, but also in your actions. In a hadith that written by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the translation of which that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to the servant, say, Abdi sawattuk wa zawajtuk, my servant, I give you, become Sayyid, meaning become leader, become, giving you dignity and so forth. Oh, my servant, I give you a spouse. I give you a spouse to get married to, and give you this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. And all the bounty that Allah bestowed upon them. then one of those servants, as the hadith is repeated, will say, Ya Allah, that is in the day of judgment. He'll say, Ya Allah, I became thankful to you. I became thankful to you. So what did you do? I was thankful. I, did what I can to become thankful. I prayed, I made sujood, and did this, did that. Then Rasulullah said, فَيُخْتَمُ عَلَى فَمِهِ, that on his mouth would be sealed. And then his limbs, Allah commanded to speak. And in this particular hadith, Rasulullah said, and then his hand will speak, his feet will speak, his bones will speak. His bones will speak, his joints will speak. Meaning, it'll speak truly of what was going on. Truly, and in the hadith, Rasulullah said, then the servant, or the abd, he will wonder when the word will come, witnesses will come. Okay, he will wonder, who would be the witness? He will start thinking, what this witness could be, or these witnesses could be. And then this witness becomes himself, becomes his own hands and his own feet and his own limbs and his own bones will testify. And that is al-munafiq, as Rasulullah said. That is the hypocrite. So we cannot fall into this. We cannot fall into this. We have to admit that what we are given from the message, from the Quran and Sunnah, is the best that anyone ever could receive. And this is what should we be thankful for. This is what we should be thankful for. Implementing what Rasulullah has given us. Propagating what Rasulullah has given us. We are being pushed in the news. When you hear those our brother and the two sisters who were shot dead maybe 2 weeks ago, how they were talked about in the news. Okay, a man who shot three people, and you hear it said 3 people who are Muslim were born in the United States. What does that mean? What does that mean? 3 Muslims were born and raised, born and grew up in the United States. Do you mean to say Americans? But they will not say it that way. What is this? That is a kind of concentration camp. Okay? That is a kind of, meaning that you're not part of this. We'll look at you and we'll brainwash you that you're not part of this. Okay? You're still a Muslim. Right? Even though you were born and raised here and so forth, you went to school, and you find what their lives, those 3 beautiful youth, okay? They went to school, they were the best of what they're doing, and they graduated, and they worked, and they volunteered in the community, Muslim or non-Muslim, they were helping and so forth and so on. But at the end, they're having to be Muslim, just being raised, and born and raised in the United States. Okay? How to deal with this is the same way that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt in the Sha'b ibn Abi Talib, which is what? Who are we? Who are we? We are the servants of Allah. We are Muslims. We are believers. We have the message, that the solution for all mankind on earth, and we're proud to say that, and we're proud to implement that. We are the one who investigate ourselves before we investigate our others. Investigate the faults that we have and correct ourselves. Before anything else, we should investigate our shortcoming with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Find out our faults. How we're not living up to that standard. If we, close the doors on ourselves, and not to be involved in matters and not investigate who we are and how we could make a difference as Muslimin in all aspects of life, in our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in our relationship with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in our relationship to our family, to the community, to the places that we are living and interact with. If we're not doing that, we're not being thankful. If we're not doing that, we're not being thankful. And it will get worse and worse and worse. Could be. And that is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings us on a higher standard or take us to a lower standard. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلِ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. We guide him to the path. Either he is shakir or kafir. Do you see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it? If you're not a shakir, you're a kafir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the shukr and kufr together in the same verse. If you're not with one, you become the other. That is how high the level of shukr is. وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. And if you become shakir, I will increase to you what I'm giving to you. Meaning the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be more. When you become thankful. So the companion learned the lesson. And they knew that they were with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hear this, to know this. So when they came out of Shi'b Abi Talib, when that concentration camp was opened for them, what happened? They did not go after the dunya. They did not go after what I'm going to buy, what house I'm going to be live in, how I'm going to, looking at the dunya as a goal, looking at this life as a goal. They didn't. Why? Because this life did not mean much to them. Because it became clear to them that just being a Muslim and knowing what Islam is the bounty of Allah, is everything. When they have that, they have everything. And if they lose that, they lost everything. So they evaluated what this existence on earth should be, or what should be like, and how a difference they could make. They were the people that they know eventually, with all the teaching that Rasulullah taught them, they knew what to do, how to do it. They became the solution for all the problems because they carry the solution. Okay? So what happened when eventually those who came afterwards, they started looking at this life as a goal in itself. And they started fighting with one another for this life. In Spain divided on 22 different districts. Each district has its own Amir and leader and Khalifa. Say, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. And I'm protecting my area here. And they would go to non-Muslims to come and help them against the Muslim brother. Is this sound familiar? This is what's happening today. This is what's happening today. What is it? What is it what's in it for me? Not who I am, but what's in it for me. Not evaluating ourselves, finding out what's the shortcoming to fix it. And that is the only solution. That is the only solution. When we think that our work will bring us results, then we will be in a constant loss. What did Umar radiallahu anhu say? When he said, we were people who were humiliated. Okay? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dignified us with Islam. If we try to find dignity in any other direction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will humiliate us again. Is this sound familiar? Yes. When did the Khilafah finally end? Okay? Not too long ago. Okay, we think that hundreds and hundreds of years ago because it's not talked about at all, so you think it was a long time ago. No. The founder of, they call them the forefathers of the United States, those who started the system with which they were building the new society and so forth. They were learning from the Khilafah. They were learning from the system of the Khilafah. When you look at when the Khilafah was here, the true Khilafah, not the Khilafah that is called now. They try to make themselves kind of a Khalifa and all of this. When the Khilafah of Islam was sound and so forth, you find these districts that is independent, sort of independent, but at the same time it has to answer to a central body. What is this? Is there a way of a system around here that is similar? Yes. They were learning of how to implement that system that rise to a highest level for a long time. So when this system finally collapsed, when the Muslimin start look at other systems and say, we need to adopt other systems because this is what going to give us success. So they let go what they have and looking for as a result and taking the means through other system. So then let this system give you result. And it will not. When did we become the best of all sciences? When did we become the best leaders in technology, if you will, meaning in medicine and in all aspects of sciences and scientific advancement in all acts of life? When we were close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran constantly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us about thinking, pondering, using your mind, using your reflection. Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala insult those who do not think. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Don't they reflect on the Quran, or you have seals on your heart? أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. That if don't they reflect on the Quran, if they reflect on it, they should think that if there is any if there is any contradiction in it, then it would be from a source that's different than Allah. Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inviting people to think and ponder about the Quran to find some faults in it. And you cannot, because it is from Allah. So when the path to Allah, the Muslimin were on, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives success to the Muslims in all sciences, in all walks of life, and all acts and sciences, secular. And there was no such a thing as secular and religious. Everything was in the way of Allah. And right now, the solution is the same way. Go back to Allah and Allah will give you success. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not stop success from coming to you as individuals. Right? Another word, you find the Muslimin today, they are the best of physicians, the best of scientists, the best of engineers, the best of, you find them in the world, and they're being recruited all over the place. So they study and to do the work as the individual Allah will give them. But not as entities, not as institutions. No. No, this will not happen unless we collectively, become the servants of Allah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ. Allah will not change what's happening to people, not to an individual. See Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to big groups. Allah will not change what's happening to you all unless all of you change what's happening within yourselves. That is becoming an institution now. That is becoming, you can, instead of you are a doctor, you can have the hospital. Instead of you are manufacturing something yourself and try to design it and so forth, you become the factory itself. You become the whole entity. Allah will not give us this back unless we change what's happening within ourselves. Success is given by Allah. It is not achieved by us. At the same time, we have to work for it. The beautiful equation for a human being that a human being should have, that you not know it all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing and all capable. You are taking the means, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who will give you the result. But at the same time, Allah will not give you the result until you take the means. We cannot sit and say things will happen. And we cannot say we're going to change what's happening. No. But we say we're going to work to change. And by changing ourselves first. And that change, saying that we are implementing La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and now we're going to implement it in our lives, in our application of all aspects of life. And Ya Allah, we're all changing ourselves. So Allah now change what's happening to us. Then Allah promises that will change what's happening to us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فادعوه يستجب. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين ورحمة الله للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also told us that the meaning of the hadith, the meaning of which is the لا تزال طائفة, okay, it's still continue a group من أمتي, from my ummah, ظاهرين, they are known and shown and there على الحق, with the truth, لا يضرهم من خذلهم ولا يضرهم من عاداهم. They will not be harmed by those who take them as enemy or those who let them down. In other words, they will still hold on to al-haq until, despite that people will try to fight them back, push them back away from al-haq, the absolute truth, or they will try to not to help them in it. But they will still continue until the day of judgment. This is where we are today. The search of the Quran and Sunnah and how it should be implemented according to the Sahaba. And once we know what it is, we implement it, we will be among this group who is still holding on to the truth, who will continue. And we will pass, we will die, and others will come and hold on and continue. By us propagating this and giving it to those who are coming and those who are coming and holding on to this. And how events will unfold in the future, it is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we know, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam promised us, that before the day of judgment, the whole earth will be two camps. a camp فسطاط الإيمان لا كفر فيه, the camp of belief, no kufr in it, and فسطاط الكفر لا إيمان فيه, and the camp of disbelief and there is no iman in it, meaning that clarity and holding on, one will be pushed so much that he has to make a decision which camp they will be in. We're not there yet, but events are moving very, very quickly. So the masjid is the place to go to. The halaqat is the place to go to. The learning sessions, the remembrance of Allah, the iPad that we carry with us, what are we listening? When we turn it on and listen to what lectures and what this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very easy for us that if we wish to learn, in most of the time of the day we are able to do so by the tools that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it available for us. Now, instead of going to a library or traveling for hundreds of miles to get a hadith, with a click of a finger you get the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's how easy it is. Well, a particular ayah, click, you get that ayah. That's how easy it is. وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. And we're even forgetting to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this, for everything that is available. Now, this could be for us or against us. When we have all this available and we just looking at it every once in a while and not implement it, this is against us in the day of judgment. Now that is available, our accountability is going to be more. We had it there for you, under your fingertip. What did you do? You still was watching something else. You still were listening to something else. You still were doing something else. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم أنت أعلم بما في قلوبنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا. اللهم أنت أعلم بحاجتنا منا فاقضها لنا. اللهم أنت أعلم بسرنا وعلانيتنا فتقبل معذرتنا. اللهم اجعل لنا إيمانا صادقا في قلوبنا حتى نعلم أنه لا يصيبنا إلا ما كتبته لنا ولا ننال إلا ما كتبته لنا. اللهم اجعلنا هادين مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين حربا لأعدائك وسلما لأوليائك يا رب العالمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وقوموا إلى الصلاة يرحمكم.